That was aggressive. Hey guys, welcome back to the Elevate podcast. My name's Em. If you don't know, now you know. This is going to be a weekly little dose of health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle bullshit. So let's chat about it. How are you guys? First off, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. And if you don't celebrate anything, happy December. Yay! Happy Christmas. Happy Christmas. Happy holidays, guys. This is the last episode going up before Christmas, which is what we celebrate, even though I'm not religious, but we do celebrate Christmas because the complexity of being Canadian and American, you know, anyways. But I'm very excited. We are going home for Christmas this year, back to my parents' house. We haven't been there for the past 2 Christmases. 2023 Christmas, my whole family came here, which was really cool to have, like, essentially me host Christmas. I say host. We don't really do a ton for Christmas. There's only the 5 of us, so wasn't anything major. And the Christmas before that, so 2022, we had rented a cabin further out east in Manitoba, and that's where we did Christmas 2 years ago. So we haven't been home for Christmas in a couple of years, so it's gonna be really exciting. I also think it might be our last Christmas with my parents living in that house, which is crazy. I would say it's like my childhood home, but it's not. Like, we moved there when I was 15, so I don't know. We didn't have, like, we moved a couple times when I was a kid, so we didn't have, like, a quote-unquote, like, childhood house. I guess you would maybe say, like, the first home my parents owned in my hometown was, like, our childhood home. That's where most of my, like, actual, like, childhood memories are. When I think of home, it's the house they're currently in. Anyways, doesn't matter. But I think it might be the last Christmas that they're there, because they're hoping to move soon. So it's gonna be really cool, and it's gonna be fun to have everybody home. My sister and I haven't been home since August. My brother hasn't been home since end of August before he moved back to school. So it'll be crazy to have everybody back together. But anyways, how was your week, guys? If I look the exact same and I'm sitting in the exact same spot, it's because I just finished recording last week's episode, because don't worry about it. Anyways, I hope you guys had a good week, and I hope you have a wonderful next few days of holidays. As much as I know it's stressful and overwhelming and cannot always be most people's favorite time of year, I do hope that you enjoy it, whether that's with family, with yourself, with your partner, with the family you've created, friends, blood, whatever that looks in your life. I hope you have a good end to the year, because you deserve it, and it's been a hard year for everybody. So I hope you understand that you can take time for yourself, and you deserve to have a good year end here. So I don't know how long this episode is going to be, but I think it's something that's important to remind people of every year. We're going to kind of chat about what I'd say is one of the most common struggles that people face this time of year, which is how to maintain your routine and habits during the holidays. I know that Thanksgiving just passed in the US a couple weeks ago, which is weird to me. Thanksgiving should be in October, in my opinion. But anyways, it's the time of year where schedules get thrown off. There is endless food and treats everywhere. We can easily feel overwhelmed by all the festivities and extra commitments in life, but it is possible to stay on track without missing out on the fun. We're going to kind of chat about why it's okay to eat holiday food in the first place, how to manage food and exercise stress during the holidays, and the best strategies for keeping your routine intact even amidst all the distractions. So if you're feeling a little bit extra anxious about maintaining your schedule during the holiday season, this episode's for you, and take from it what serves you. We're going to start with the elephant in the room, which is the food that comes from holiday, whether that's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is past, so this is outdated for that, but mostly Christmas food. In my family, we celebrate Christmas food, like, we celebrate with Christmas food a lot more than we do Thanksgiving food. We're not huge Thanksgiving people. Never really been. We like Christmas. We like Christmas foods. We like Christmas baking, the whole 9. From gingerbread cookies to rich, creamy casseroles. It can feel like there's a pressure to either indulge or deprive yourself. The good news is, it is okay to enjoy your holiday foods. I want to remind you that food is meant to be a source of enjoyment and connection during the holidays, not a source of stress. A lot of times we fall into the trap of guilt when we eat more than usual or indulge in those seasonal treats. But here's the thing, and here's your reminder. One day, or even a few days of eating holiday foods isn't going to undo all your progress. It's all about balance. We'll talk big on balance in a bit. If you've been maintaining a healthy lifestyle, this is truly just like a blip on the radar. But it's also okay to want to maintain your routine and your schedule. Holidays are a time for memories, family gatherings, and celebration. And food brings people together, as cliche as that is. So many people connect over food and over meals. So holidays are largely centered around food. Enjoying a slice of pie or some extra strudels or whatever that is can be a meaningful part of the experience. Just remember Your fitness and wellness goals are not about perfection, they are about balance. For a long time, there was this push to people, if you ate healthy and balanced throughout the year, don't eat holiday foods. Stay on track, bring your meal prep, don't eat any of the baking, don't eat any of whatever. Eat your meal prep at the table with your family. There was that side of it. And then there was the other side that was like, if you're home for the holidays, you should 100% eat 7 plates of food, eat all of the baking, and use this as your one time of year where you can eat like shit and not feel bad about it. Now, I'm not saying that either of those are necessarily wrong. In my life, they're for sure not correct. I think it's really important to understand and to learn the balance between those two mindsets all year round, but especially during the holidays. Adopting the 80-20 rule can be really beneficial, like in all parts of your life, but especially when it comes to holiday and vacation foods. 80% of the time focusing on nutritious whole foods that fuel you, and 20% of the time enjoying the things you love, like the rich dessert or your favorite holiday drink. There's the complexity that comes with holiday time about managing food and exercise stress. The holidays can bring in some unique challenges, especially when it comes to staying active and not overindulging. Let's talk about food stress. When there's a big feast and the temptation to eat more than we need is everywhere, it's really, really easy to feel overwhelmed by just the amount of food and what you want to eat. A big reason this happens is because we often tie our food choices to our emotions, whether that's stress, tradition, or even just the social pressure to eat certain foods and certain amounts of it. So there is a couple ways that you can manage this food stress. Number one is by practicing mindful eating. Somebody is going to have to make a tally on how many times I say the word mindful in the last 18 months of the podcast. Instead of mindlessly munching, try to slow down and savor each bite, listening to your body and eating until you're satisfied, not stuffed. There is a difference. Often just being mindful of what you're eating can help prevent overeating, which will then make you feel sick. Number two, finding a healthy balance with your plate. When you're sitting down to eat, try to load up half your plate with vegetables and fruits, then adding smaller portions of your favorite indulgent foods. This way, you're still enjoying those holiday dishes without overdoing it. I also want to preface, if you are recovering from an ED or you have habits of disordered eating, these might not all apply to you, and I wish that I could make a specific episode for every single one of those situations, but that's just not realistic. Talk to your healthcare team if you have one, and if you don't, look into having a healthcare team, but talk to your healthcare team and do what's best for you. I know that for some people, the act of I don't want to say restricting, but taking very small portions of indulgent foods can trigger some disordered eating patterns from the past. So again, like everything that I say, take from this what serves you and what is beneficial to your life and modify it. But yeah, finding a healthy balance on your plate can be really, really helpful. A lot of times the foods that are holiday specific are not the most filling. For example, mac and cheese. Baked mac and cheese. Everybody made teenies this year, but I fucking love baked mac and cheese. It is one of my go-to. If I want a fun supper on the weekend, I'm making baked mac and cheese. 1000%. It is. I'm probably going to make it at Christmas this year. I haven't told my parents that yet. For sure going to make it. It's incredible. Could I eat half a fucking 9x16 dish of baked mac and cheese and not feel full? Yes. I'm going to feel sick. I'm going to shit my brains out because lactose intolerant, but not feeling full. It's not the most nutritious food, and it's also it's just not very filling. It's not fueling my body. So I could eat the half of the tray, and that could be all I eat. And I'm still going to be hungry, but I'm going to feel sick. Finding your base foods that can help actually give the meal some substance. Vegetables are a huge one. I mean, you should fill probably half your plate with vegetables all the time because vegetables are good for you, and people chronically undereat fruits and vegetables, especially at holidays. It can be a really good way to balance having nutrition from your meals and actually feeling satiated from those meals while still getting reasonable sized serving of mac and cheese and mashed potatoes and gravy and turkey, or we don't eat turkey, we eat ham at Christmas, but whatever the quote unquote indulgent foods are, whatever your not standard foods are, still having the option to eat those while also having something filling and nutritious on your plate that is going to make you feel satisfied from that meal. Number 3, staying hydrated. Sometimes we really confuse hunger with thirst, especially when we're distracted by parties or large meals. Drinking water throughout the day can help you feel full and prevent overeating. I am not saying that if you genuinely feel hungry, you should drink a glass of water, because that is not realistic, and that very much feeds into like early 2000s ED behavior. But it is true that if you are chronically dehydrated, which so many people are during the holidays, especially if you're drinking, you're not replenishing the hydration in your body with actual water and electrolytes, you might feel incredibly hungry even though your body is just craving essentially water. So make sure you're staying hydrated through meals and before, after meals, the whole nine. We're also going to talk about exercise. The holidays are often a time where we let our fitness routine slides a bit, and that's okay and it's normal, but we don't have to completely abandon our workout habits just because we're home for holidays. Number one, keeping your routine simple. Don't put pressure on yourself to do a full hour workout if that feels like too much, especially if you don't have the same access to gym and fitness equipment. Short, like 15 to 20 minute workouts like bodyweight exercises or a brisk walk can go a long way. Plus, movement does help reduce stress and keep your energy levels up while you're juggling everything that comes with the holidays. There are so many people that post like vacation workouts, essentially, like, and not in the sense of like, let's get skinny before your workout, how to get abs in 6 weeks. I mean, like, hey, you're home for the holidays. At least for me, for a long time, we have 2 gyms at home, but for a long time there was only one. It didn't have it didn't have the same variety of equipment that I'm used to having in the city. Even if I'm wanting to do like a home workout at my parents' house, they don't have a gym amount of equipment. They have a couple kettlebells and weights and a bench, but learning to adapt your routine and knowing that keeping it simple is not a bad thing can be really important. Also, just make sure you're getting movement in day to day, whether that's like, doesn't necessarily have to be a full strength training or cardio workout. Go for a walk after a meal, help your digestion. Hey, go listen to a couple episodes ago when we talked about gut health and gut-brain connection. Going for a walk can be really beneficial for your nutrition and just for your digestion of your foods. Number 2, build movements into social activities. Instead of just meeting friends or family for coffee or drinks, suggest a walk, a hike, or a game of basketball. You'll get your body moving and you won't feel like you're missing out on the social aspect. Obviously, this can differ if you live somewhere like where I live, where it's cold as fuck and not necessarily easy to go outside for stuff. Go ice fishing, go snowmobiling if you have a snowmobile, like go snowshoeing, do things outside. They still give you that social aspect, still give you that sense of spending time with your family and getting to communicate and talk to and hang out with people that you haven't seen in a couple months, while also doing something physical for your body. Number 3, don't stress over perfection. If you miss a workout or you find yourself too busy to exercise for a few days, that is okay. Remember, it's about consistency over time. The holidays are a season, not a reason to throw your entire fitness plan out the window. There's a reason that I always say fitness and wellness should be about like sustainable lifelong changes. It should be something like, I love going to the gym. It is arguably one of my favorite parts of the day. I love going home because my family works out and I get to work out with them, which I don't often get to do. Even if they didn't, because it's something that's so ingrained into my routine and something that I do for my own benefit and for my own happiness and health, it doesn't feel like I'm losing time in my day because I'm going for a workout. It doesn't feel like I'm losing time or like losing anything because I'm going for a walk after dinner. We'll touch on that in like 2 seconds so we've talked about managing food and exercise stress, but like, what about your overall routine and habits? The holidays tend to disrupt our schedules majorly between events, travel, and additional responsibilities, but there are a few key strategies that can help you stay on track even during your busiest times of the year. Number 1, keep your non-negotiables in place. Even if your routine has to shift, try to keep those non-negotiables as non-negotiables. Whether it's getting 7 to 8 hours of sleep, taking a morning walk, or having daily moments of mindfulness, your small habits will help provide stability. When everything else feels chaotic, having a few things you can rely on to help you feel and stay grounded. I am terrible for this, if I'm being entirely honest. Not so much when I'm like, if I'm traveling somewhere else by myself or whatever it is, I don't tend to struggle with this. When I'm home, for whatever reason, so often my whole schedule goes out the door. And I don't know whether that's because I'm home and I'm like reverting back to 16-year-old Emily, which is scary, but I often don't sleep well. I for sure don't sleep at my normal time, which when I'm here, I go to bed at like 9:30. I wake up at 4:45. When I'm home, sometimes I'm not going to bed until 2 a.m. and then I'm waking up at fucking 12. Like, for some reason, something about me being home means I am just like, oh, I don't need to stay in my routine. No, you for sure do. For sure do. Number 2, be flexible with your routine, even while keeping those non-negotiables in place. Sometimes the holidays call for flexibility. Maybe you can't stick to your regular workout time or meal plan, and that's okay. The key is to adapt without feeling like you've quote unquote failed. If your usual routine doesn't work today, figure out a way to modify it to fit your schedule. Just being adaptable with understanding that, hey, your entire routine is different right now. You might be in a different city. You might have people staying at your house. Like, even if you're not traveling for the holidays and other people are traveling to you, you now have people staying in your house, or you have people at your house. You have things and responsibilities in life that you might not typically have during the rest of the year. So it's important to remain adaptable and flexible in your routine, but you can still make those things non-negotiable. Let's say my non-negotiable is a 30-minute walk in the morning right after I eat breakfast. That's fine. But my normal breakfast time might be 7 a.m. and now it's closer to 9:30 because people are coming over for breakfast and there's now 20 people eating breakfast and doing dishes and cleaning and whatever else. Adjusting the time of when my morning walk happens. I'm not losing that non-negotiable of like, I am going for a walk after I eat breakfast. I'm just being adaptable and flexible in when that's happening in that timeline of the day. Number 3, using a planner or a journal or even in your phone. One of the best ways to maintain structure during the holidays is just writing things down. Whether it's a physical planner, a digital calendar, or just a to-do list, staying organized helps prevent the feeling of being overwhelmed. When you can see everything laid out, it's easier to make time for your health and well-being. This can also be a good way because sometimes, say you're sitting in the living room and you're all chatting and playing games and whatnot, and suddenly it's 6 hours later and you realize that you haven't stood up, you haven't drank any water, you haven't eaten anything, and you haven't gone pee because you've been so busy talking to people, which is great, good. Talk to your family, talk to your friends, talk to people, but also make sure you're still taking care of yourself. Set a timer for every couple hours. Hey, get up and go walk around the block, or, I'm going to put on a dance party song and we're going to dance for 10 minutes in the living room with my whole family to get some form of movement in. I'm going to set a reminder every hour and a half for me to get up and go pee, drink some water, eat a snack, whatever that looks like. Having things laid out and having reminders in your phone or on a calendar just takes away that risk of sitting on the couch for 8 hours unknowingly because you've been playing board games and suddenly you realize that you haven't peed all day and your bladder is screaming at you. And number 4, setting realistic expectations. Let's talk about your expectations. It is really, really easy to get caught up in the holiday hustle, but remember, it's okay if you can't do everything perfectly. Setting realistic goals and expectations helps reduce stress and allows you to enjoy the season without guilt. I have opinions. I do truly have some opinions because I truly wholeheartedly believe everything we just talked about. Like, every single one of those things I believe in and I adapt in, like, I implement these things into my life. I'm trying to think of a nice way to say what I want to say. I also think it's important for people to maintain some level of commitment to your goals during the holidays, especially if you're taking like long-term holidays. Like, I'm going home for like a week and a half, probably almost 2 weeks if I can. That's a lot different than me going home for one day and having one day of no routine and no structure and no nothing. It's almost 2 full weeks, which also means that it's really easy. Like, in those 2 weeks, I can create a structure and a routine that works for what I'm doing while I'm at home. It's important. But honestly, biggest thing is managing your expectations and being adaptable to what your routine is going to look like while you have people over or you're at somebody's house and you're eating holiday food, whatever celebrations you celebrate. Maintaining your routine, but just adjusting it to what works for you. Because truth be told, if you want to be somebody who doesn't work out a single time you're home for the holidays and doesn't eat on meal prep, that's fine. Do whatever you want. Also, just, you have to shift that expectation of like, okay, you might get back home after 2 weeks of being at your parents or at family members, wherever, and suddenly it's really difficult to get back into your normal routine. It's not necessarily as easy as, I drove home, I'm back in my own house, suddenly my routine is exactly the same as it was when I left. It's not always that easy. For most people, I would say it's not that easy. It takes time to adjust back to your normal schedule. So sometimes, instead of letting yourself fully lose all of those habits and routines that you've built for yourself in your day-to-day life, don't completely abandon them. Don't forget about the goals you've set for yourself in your health and wellness, because they are still important. They're important year round, and they're things you can work towards year round. The way you work towards them is going to look differently based on different seasons in life, but you can work towards them at all times of the year. Holidays and family time and all of that, it don't have to derail your progress and your well-being. By practicing, mindful eating, staying active in a way that feels good, maintaining a routine, you can enjoy this season of life and you can enjoy the holidays without the additional stress of losing that routine. I just want to touch on this. I think we've talked about this before, but for a lot of people who prioritize health, wellness, and fitness in their life, going home for the holidays means getting a lot of comments about, oh, you're dieting, oh, you're doing the gym thing, you're doing the health thing, you're exercising. And I want this to serve as your reminder that you dieting, quote unquote, or you, quote, doing the gym thing is not an insult. It should, and people might try and use that as an insult, but truth be told, every single person to ever exist should, quote, be doing the health thing. I know that it can be a really frustrating time for a lot of people who have very clear set goals in life for their health, fitness, wellness, whether or not that's okay, you work out in the gym and here is this preset goal of I want 15 pull-ups this year. I want to be able to lift X amount of weight. Whether it's that, or whether your goal is simply hey, I want to improve my bone density. I want to improve the longevity of my life. I want to live a more healthier and whatever your goals look like, in anywhere in between those. If you want to run a marathon, I don't know, whatever they look like, whatever your health and fitness goals are, you are not in the wrong for wanting to better your life. Your desire to improve your life is not an inconvenience to you at all. It might make things more difficult. It might make holidays stressful because food is different, plans are different, routine is different. Doesn't mean it's an inconvenience. It just means it's a challenge you have to overcome. So I know for people that this time of year is not always the most fun if health and wellness is something that is so deeply ingrained in your life, because so many people don't see it as a priority and they see it as almost not weird, but we'll use the example of family members because I feel like that's a good chunk of who people spend holidays with. If you tell a family member, oh yeah, I started going to the gym this year, or oh, I'm training for a marathon, I did a triathlon this year, I'm doing a high rocks, I'm whatever you're fit, I started going to Pilates, I took up dance classes, any of these things, when you tell people that, so many times they see it, I'm trying to think of the best way to say this nicely. I feel like a lot of people who do not take very good care of themselves see somebody else doing that and telling them about it as almost an insult. You went to a family member, you told them, they asked what you're doing with your life, and you're oh, I'm actually training for a marathon, I'm going to run it in March, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes people almost take that as an insult, as if you're degrading their life decisions and their life choices because they're not running a marathon. They're not training for a marathon. They're not going to the gym. They're not worried about their nutrition through the holidays. That is not on you. As a society, everybody should work out. I said what I said. Everybody should eat healthy. Everybody should focus on nutrition and quote-unquote dieting and exercise, working out, focusing on health goals. Everybody should have health goals. It can be so frustrating to talk to people and them see you as, I don't know the best way to explain it. It feels like people truly take it almost as a personal attack when you tell them that you have clear cut, here's my health and wellness goal, here's my fitness goal, here's whatever. People take it as an insult. People take it as oh, I'm so much better than you because I have health goals. I'm dieting. I'm so much better than you. They and I don't understand it, because we're not. I saw TikTok forever ago. It's pretty old. I'll link it down below if I can still find it. This girl is talking about this whole concept of people telling her, oh, you're doing the health thing, you're doing the gym thing. And she talks in that TikTok about people are not hunter-gatherers anymore. We are not fighting for our food. We are not living outside, and we don't have this constant fear of death that is keeping us in shape and healthy. We don't have that need to, not even a need, but just our lifestyles no longer allow us to stay in shape and to stay healthy without putting any intention behind it. So don't let people make you feel weird for prioritizing your health and wellness. Don't let people make you feel like you're an you're really gonna. There's another girl I love on TikTok. I cannot remember her name for the life of me right now. She's been posting a lot. She's from the US, so they just had Thanksgiving. She's been posting a lot of shit about, hey, yes, I'm still going to go for my run on Thanksgiving. Yes, I am still going to take an hour out of my day to go for a workout. And I love that. Really, it depends on what your goals are, and it depends on what is going to serve you best in life. I don't function well if I don't have my like clear-cut routine and I don't work out. Like, I don't do any of these things, which is why a lot of times when I go home for extended periods of time, I end up feeling like shit about myself because I haven't always prioritized that routine while I'm home. I do a lot of times find myself reverting into like 15, 16-year-old Emily, or even worse, like a 17-year-old version of myself that was during lockdown, and I was so horribly depressed that I didn't care about any. It makes me sad to think about that. It also just makes me sad knowing that like that's the emotion that I hold towards that whole period of my life. But truly, like, so many times, and this is by no fault of anybody, like, I'm not saying that it's like, oh, it's my parents' fault, not even in the slightest, it's my own fault. But it's weird, I sleep in my childhood bedroom, and for so long, extended periods of time at home have made me feel like that 17-year-old version of myself that does not give a shit about myself, and I didn't care about my health and wellness. You know, like, I had no care and no sense of prioritizing myself at all, because what the fuck did it matter? And I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I can't physically do that anymore because it truly, like, it really deters me from wanting to go home, which sucks because I want to go home so much more. Like, I want to see my parents. I want to spend so much more time at that house while they're still there. I was just so lenient with myself for so long about what my intentions and goals are during the holidays that it really put a damper on my mood during that time, like during those times. And I don't want to do that anymore. And I know that I'm so grateful and lucky that I have a family that also prioritizes their health and fitness and nutrition, and it's not like weird for me to do that. It's not seen as like, oh, you're really gonna take an hour out of your day to go work out. Yes, I am, and so is my dad, and so is my mom, like, so is everybody else, because that's just what we do. But I know that's not the case for everybody. So I just use this as your reminder that, like, you are not in the wrong if that's what you want to prioritize, or make a priority, I should say, during the holidays. If you want to, you know, you're going for a run every morning, or you're going to the gym, you're finding a gym you can do a drop in, or whatever that looks like in your life, you are not in the wrong for that. And do not let anybody make you feel as though you are, even though chances are somebody's going to have some fucking comment to say about, oh, you're really going to go work out at Christmas? Yes, because I care about myself and I care about the longevity of my life. And this isn't something that is an inconvenience to my day-to-day schedule. This is something that is going to allow me to live the life that I want to live. And that's okay. That's fucking okay. So use all of these tips to help manage your stress and maintain a good routine if you don't have a super structured one going into this. But also remember that you are not in the wrong for maintaining your same structure and your same habits throughout the entire year. It doesn't mean that you don't have good balance. It just means you were very disciplined in that. And that's okay. Some people might want to take the 2 weeks off of the gym or of running or meal prep, whatever that looks like for the holidays. And that's fine. If that's what's going to serve you in life and you need that full 2-week break or however long, I know most people don't get 2 weeks. I'm just saying 2 weeks because that's how long I'm going home. But you can stay on track. You can stay on plan. Guess what? You can still meal prep at home if that's something that's going to be helpful for you. I know, like, for lunches, for example, we're not a huge lunch family. Kind of like 90% of our meal is we focus on supper 90% of the time. Meal prepping lunches is a really good way to make sure that I'm still getting all of the macros that I want during the day, and I'm still eating enough nutritious and whole food, and then I'm still gonna have those fun, yummy, indulgent foods at supper that I don't get the rest of the year. Going to the gym in the morning has no impact on me also being able to play board games and enjoy time with my family and friends in the evening. It's just setting me up for a good day. And it's such a fucking hard time of year for so many people. Like, all holidays are, but I feel like this, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, because they are so heavily centered around food and drinking, it can be really, really difficult for people to enjoy time at home when you have so much food stress. So use these tips. Do what works best for you. If you find that meal prepping your lunches and breakfasts is what's going to make it easy for you to get through the holidays, do that. Prioritize your workouts if that's what you want to do. Find other ways to implement activity and fitness into your time with your family and friends. It's not like all things, it's not about perfection. It's about finding that balance. Enjoy your holiday foods, enjoy the time with loved ones, and enjoy like a much needed break. This, for a lot of people, is their one big break in a year from work and from school and from whatever else, but also making time for the habits and routines that keep you feeling your best, because if you're not prioritizing those habits and routines, you're gonna feel like shit regardless. So anyways, that's all I've got for this week. I feel like that took a turn at the end there and I got a little sappy, but that's okay. Anyways, I hope you guys have wonderful holidays, whatever you celebrate, whoever you celebrate it with, whether that's with other people or maybe you celebrate by yourself, and that's okay too. Make sure that you're doing whatever is going to serve you best this holiday season, from taking a complete break to doing whatever the fuck you want for a week or 2 weeks, like, you know, whatever is going to benefit you. Don't let other people make you feel like you're in the wrong or that you're weird for caring about your health, because turns out they're actually the weird ones for not giving a shit about what they eat and what they drink and when they work out. You're not weird for caring about that. It's actually what everybody should be doing, and the holidays really are a rough time for a lot of people who have strict health and fitness goals. So, Bird says Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Anyways, if you made it this far, thank you so much for listening, guys. I hope you guys have an incredible holiday season. We'll be back next week. I think next week's episode is going to be my New Year's resolutions episode, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that I can get my parents and my siblings to jump in and chat a little bit in that episode, so we'll see. While I'm home, I also think me and Ken are going to record an episode, so sometime in January, you guys should be getting another episode of Emily and Kendall, which is really exciting. I haven't seen Kendall in months, so I'm over the fucking moon to see her at Christmas. But anyways, leave a like, comment, review, whatever else it is that let you guys do. Doesn't make a big difference for you guys, but it does make a huge difference for me. For more day-to-day updates of my life, follow me on Instagram, EBFit for the gym page, Elevate with Emily podcast for the podcast page, and Emily Brilliard for my personal. I say it every week and I'll continue to say it. We are on YouTube, so if you would rather watch a podcast, the link will be in the show notes. I think I'm also going to vlog while I'm home for Christmas, hopefully. Maybe even 2 vlogs, because I think that'll be fun. So those will go up on YouTube. I hope you guys have incredible holidays. I hope you come back after Christmas feeling refreshed and like you are ready to take on the new year, because you deserve that. So anyways, remember that your health, wellness, and fitness is a lifelong journey, and it's never going to be a one-stop destination. It is about making sustainable, lifelong changes. So take it one step at a time and be kind to yourself. Until next time, stay well, keep growing, and we'll chat next week.